The San Siro was buzzing. It was a typical electric atmosphere. Inter Milan, the reigning Serie A champions, were hosting Bologna. On paper, it looked like a routine home win for Inter. They were the overwhelming favorites. Bologna, on the other hand, were fighting to stay in the top half of the table. Inter, under Simone Inzaghi, were known for their attacking flair. They loved to dominate possession. Their 3-5-2 formation was designed to overwhelm teams. Bologna, led by the astute Thiago Motta, were a more pragmatic side. They were disciplined and well-organized. Motta's tactics revolved around defensive solidity and quick counterattacks. The stage was set for an intriguing tactical battle. Inter, with their attacking prowess, were expected to take the game to Bologna. The visitors, however, had a plan of their own. They were happy to sit back and absorb the pressure. They waited for their opportunity to strike on the break. The tension was palpable from the first whistle. Inter, roared on by their passionate fans, started brightly. They pressed high and looked to create chances. Bologna, though, were content to soak up the pressure. They defended deep and in numbers. The first half promised to be a fascinating chess match. The first half was a masterclass in controlled aggression by Inter. They dominated possession. Their passing was crisp and precise. Nicolo Barella, the engine in Inter's midfield, was at the heart of everything. He pulled the strings with his vision and passing range. Lautaro Martinez, Inter's Argentine striker, was a constant threat. He used his movement and intelligent runs to get in behind the Bologna defense. However, Bologna's backline stood firm. They defended resolutely. They limited Inter's chances. Despite Inter's dominance, clear-cut opportunities were hard to come by. Bologna's well-drilled defense frustrated Inter's attackers. Every time Inter looked like breaking through, Bologna's defenders were there to snuff out the danger. Bologna's game plan was clear. They were happy to concede possession. They focused on maintaining their defensive shape. Motta had clearly instructed his players to stay compact and disciplined. This strategy worked perfectly in the first 45 minutes. Bologna's goalkeeper, Łukasz Skorupski, was barely tested. He was a virtual spectator for much of the first half. However, he was always alert. He commanded his area with confidence. He dealt with any crosses that came his way. Going into the break, it was still goalless. Inter had dominated possession. They had created a few half chances. Bologna's resolute defending meant they were still very much in the game. The second half promised to be a tense affair. Section 4, Shifting Tides. Bologna rise to the challenge. The second half began with a sense of anticipation. Inter needed to find a breakthrough. Bologna, however, grew in confidence. They started to venture forward with more purpose. The game became more stretched. There were chances at both ends. Inter still looked dangerous going forward. Their attacking players were starting to find more space. Bologna, though, were now posing a threat on the counter-attack. Musa Barrow, their Gambian winger, was proving to be a handful with his pace and trickery. As the game wore on, the tension inside the San Siro was palpable. Inter's fans, who had been so vocal in the first half, were now watching nervously. Bologna's fans, sensing an upset, started to believe. The momentum of the match had shifted. Section 5. Orsolini, the hero of the hour. As the clock ticked down, it looked like the game was heading for a draw. Both teams had chances. Neither could find the back of the net. Then, in the 94th minute, Bologna produced a moment of magic. It started with a quick counterattack. The ball was played out wide to Orsolini. The Italian winger cut inside. He unleashed an unstoppable shot into the top corner of the net. The San Siro was stunned into silence. Bologna's players and fans erupted in ecstasy. Orsolini's goal was a moment of individual brilliance. It was a goal worthy of winning any game. For Bologna, it was a moment to savor. They had come to the San Siro and beaten the champions. Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe for more match analysis and highlights, and don't forget to drop your thoughts below. Until next time, keep loving football. Peace.